the message we kind of got going in to that legislative session was this may not be a session where schools get a lot, so to speak, but be thankful for the stuff that you may not lose. And so that's really almost what happened. There were a lot of things that were being threatened that were going to possibly happen, and most of those did not. There are a few spot things that they did that are going to be positive things for us, and that's what we tried to highlight last night. I hate to give a report when I don't know all the rules and details yet. However, as we look at budget, as we look at the start of school, as we look at making some decisions, there's no doubt what we do know is starting to influence those decisions. So I just wanted to give a very preliminary report on the things we know that are at least coming. Some of the things that we get really excited about, we still don't quite know how it's going to work because the rules have not been established yet. So we don't want to get too excited, but we want to be prepared for it.
School finance, they looked like they were going to hold off, then they might do something, so it kind of went back and forth.
It did. As hopefully everybody understands, the many schools basically sued the state a couple of years ago to say that the funding formula is just not fair, and the Judge Dietz that oversaw that case ended up ruling that the system is in fact not fair. And so for a couple of years now, it seems like we've kind of been waiting on a new system to come, and going into this legislative session they kind of told us, hey, money's going to stand still until that court case is done. So we really went into the session not expecting to see much in the way of fixing some of the funding formulas. Well, then they came along in the middle of the section and said, I think we are going to change some things, fix some things, and really built a little bit of hope in us. And by the end, that just didn't really happen. It did a little bit. We've got a little extra kick per student, which is going to be helpful right now. Changed one of the formulas up a little bit on the way we get support from the state on our taxing. It doesn't change taxes for anybody here, but they are going to adjust the state formula a little bit and give us a little more support from the state in the way we set our tax rates.
Education, a lot of other groups kind of looking at the rainy day fund, and they just seem real reluctant to do much with that. They're, I guess, scared of the apocalypse or something that must be out there.
Yeah, it's hard to understand. They're set to have about $11 billion in the rainy day fund at the next legislative session, and there's many people that keep saying it's time to spend some of that on some better educational situations. There's just such a battle in the session right now of you got the group that wants to see things go more privatized and just change up totally, and the group that feels like we're doing a pretty good job. We just need to improve some things, and money would help to start making the things that we're doing currently better. One of the more exciting changes, exciting in the way of it's so unknown, we're not sure how we'll really deal with it, but has potential to be a really neat thing for the school system. We've been cautioned many times, don't make too many plans too quick until the commissioner writes the rules that go with it. But they're basically wanting to change, instead of counting days, counting minutes. And so, for example, our high school and middle school already go an extra 30 minutes than what the law requires. Well, that already totals up to a good 10 to 12 days that we could cut off at the end of the year. Now, I say that we're not going to allow middle school and high school to do something different than the rest of the district, so the rest of the district would have to make a little bit of an adjustment to get there. One of the rules that they've already, we can't end before May 15th. So I believe there's about 15 days to play with there, depending on the amount of time we put in our day. Could be really advantageous to cut off a good 10 days, maybe 5 days for some reason, maybe even try to get up to 15, depending on how we have this discussion in the next few months.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of people, that time in June just seems to be, kind of a real tough week in there.
It is. Nobody ever has liked going into June, and so at a minimum, if we could cut those 5 days off, that would be outstanding. Then you get into Memorial Day and trying to work around that. So it's also a great way to do makeup days. It's been disappointing in the past if Good Friday's a makeup day and we end up having to go on that day, everybody seems pretty disappointed.
Right.
So we could almost keep those days as holidays and build in some makeup days through minutes and not necessarily ever see an actual day that's repeated, just done through the minutes.
We talked about possibly being a pilot program in certain areas of instruction.
Yes, one of our state legislators, Gary Van Dever, who was a superintendent in Region 8 for a long time, we just feel like he's one of ours. He's been advocating that we not necessarily do all the writing tests. Let us evaluate this writing thing locally, and he got a lot of momentum. The bill he had actually put out didn't pass, but they did say let's look at it as a pilot group for a couple of years. And Lisa Robinson, our curriculum director, she kind of ramrods all the English stuff, and I kind of called her when I was at a conference hearing this and said, hey, what do you think about the possibility of being a pilot school? And she said, that's probably great. We've got a lot of good things going. It would just fit right into what we're really already doing. So that's another thing that they say we're going to have to apply for when the time comes, and they're going to have to write the rules, and so we're anxious to see what that'll do to us.
Any ticking time bombs in there? Anything that could be a big surprise or turn out worse than?
Not really. The one thing, the couple of things I guess that has everybody possibly, they've really changed the way we're going to be able to function with truancy.
Yeah.
That's got us a little nervous, and we're not even sure yet what that means. It doesn't look good. We've got the ability to do some things right now with the court system for truancy, and they may be taking that away from us, somewhere between taking that ability to go to court and maybe just adding some steps to get there. We're not sure yet. So we're a little not sure what the word is, nervous, upset, uptight maybe over the changes in truancy. And then the A through F system we didn't really want to see happen, and it didn't, but it's scheduled to go ahead and happen in 2017. I think there's a feeling that they still in the next legislative session could get some drastic changes made before it actually ever comes to fruition. But it doesn't exist now, but at least appears it will exist one day.